Here's more wrestling news for December 14th, 2022, and we're kicking off with WWE NXT, as Mandy Rose dominated as Women's Champion for over a year, but her reign has come to an end. After winning the Women's Iron Survivor Challenge at NXT Deadline, Roxanne Perez had her title match against Rose on last night's episode of the White and Gold brand. A match worthy of the main event, Perez wrestled through a kayfabe shoulder injury and countered an attempted slam by Rose to hit her with the Pop Rocks. Hitting her finisher, Perez was able to put an end to Rose's 413-day title reign, and this marks the young superstar's first singles title since joining NXT. It had been reported prior to the show that WWE was considering the title change, so it seems like it wasn't until the last minute that the decision was made. Before coming to WWE, Perez competed as Roxy and was the very first Ring of Honor Women's World Champion, and Booker T even name-dropped the promotion now owned by Tony Khan and Perez's historic title win. Perez has been one of the standout stars in NXT since the relaunch in September of last year, and now the new NXT Women's Champion has cemented her place in WWE. Last night, Mandy Rose's 413-day reign as NXT Women's Champion came to an end after she was defeated by Roxanne Perez. Unfortunately for Rose, it wasn't just the end of her title reign, but the end of her tenure in WWE as well. Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful is reporting that Rose has been released by WWE as of today. According to Sapp, the call was made by WWE officials who felt they were put in a tough position due to suggestive content Rose was releasing on her page for the website FanTime. Sapp went on to state that officials determined the content was outside of the parameters of Rose's contract with WWE, hence her release. Rose posts adult-themed photos and videos for subscribers under the name Mandy Sachs through FanTime. A subscription to the page costs $25 per month. Rose first joined WWE during the 6th season of Tough Enough in 2015, placing second overall behind eventual winners Sarah Lee and Josh Brendel. Rose ultimately signed a 5-year deal with WWE anyway, working for NXT for several years before being called up to Monday Night Raw in 2017. Highlights of her main roster run included a tag team and later rivalry with real-life friend Sonya Deville and her romance with Otis, which ran from late 2019 into 2020. Wrestling fans are very angry with WWE's decision. Please share your thoughts below and stay tuned to Slat Rock Wrestling for more updates. More from NXT now, as the show saw an appearance from new NXT Tag Team Champions The New Day, who are eager to celebrate their win over Pretty Deadly. Speaking in the ring, Xavier Woods noted how Kofi Kingston is the first person to ever hold the WWE Triple Crown in both singles and tag team wrestling, while Kofi said that the win was memorable for Woods as he wrestled his first match in NXT against their stablemate Big E. The celebration was cut short by the arrival of Pretty Deadly, who said that the New Day ruined Christmas, a claim the new champs found odd since Santa Claus was sat in the crowd. Well, to be more accurate, it was a fan dressed as Santa, and the New Day agreed to a title match if the British tag team could recite the Pledge of Allegiance. While Pretty Deadly refused, Brooks Jensen and Josh Briggs, complete with the US flag, didn't hesitate, and their title match was confirmed for next week. It's one of the more unique ways a tag team has earned a title match, but you can't argue with the results, and we'll see if the New Day's reign comes to an abrupt end next week. Over to AEW, as fans haven't seen Andrade El Idolo in the ring since All Out, but it's more than just his attitude keeping him away. Last month, the former NXT champion revealed that he suffered a torn pectoral muscle during a trios match, which occurred at the AEW Dynamite House of Dragon special in August. Andrade even bragged about finishing his match that night despite being injured, and now the AEW star is back in the gym. On Twitter, Andrade shared a selfie from his gym session, though he is wearing an arm brace to stop his arm from moving and to protect his healing pectoral muscle. Andrade is eager to get back in the ring, which may prove difficult even when he's fully healed, as he was sent home in October for picking a fight with Sammy Guevara backstage. Some believe that Andrade is trying to get fired by AEW just so that he can return to WWE now that Triple H is running things, but for now, the Mexican star is happy to just be back in the gym. Fans may not be seeing Andrade anytime soon, but MJF is a regular on AEW programming and is riding high as the AEW World Champion. We've all seen the devil himself pull off some dastardly heel acts as part of AEW TV, and things are somehow even worse when the cameras aren't rolling. Speaking to Today.com, Tony Khan was questioned whether MJF is the appropriate choice for a world champion, and the company president said he's somehow even worse to be around off camera. MJF, I think, is one of the most charismatic and intelligent pro wrestlers on the planet. And there are fans worldwide compelled by his actions and take notice every time he speaks. This is me 100% of the time, 365 days a year. It doesn't change. You can ask people in my industry, and people have, and then fans are like, oh, these other people are just keeping the ruse. This is me, my own experiences dealing with them. I've found them to be more difficult in some ways off camera, if that's even possible. MJF hasn't exactly been gentle with Khan on TV, calling him a mark who would treat MJF better if he were an ex-WWE guy, so we can only imagine how things are off camera. There had at one point been plans for a full MJF face turn, which thankfully didn't happen, as given how he is both on and off screen, it's in AEW's interest to keep him as one of the top heels wrestling today. Back to WWE now, and since joining, Rhea Ripley has been a success whatever brand she's been on, having held the NXT UK, NXT, and Raw Women's Championships. The Judgment Day member has cemented herself as a part of the company, but she also has a long and bright future ahead of her, according to Becky Lynch. When speaking about the 26-year-old in an interview with The Verge, Lynch praised Ripley as the future of the business, saying, "I think Rhea is one of the greatest female athletes that we've ever seen. I think she's incredible. She's so young, so full of potential. I look at her and I go, well, that's the future of the business, and the business is in good hands. She's the future, but I'm still the present. There can only be one man around this place." Lynch added that when it comes to it, she'll put Ripley in her place, but said it was wise for Rhea to work closely with Finn Balor, who was one of Lynch's very first wrestling tutors. Becky Lynch certainly knows all about being a big star in wrestling, having become one of the top names in all of women's wrestling history. So to have this endorsement by the man is a huge feather in the cap for Rhea Ripley. Now, when superstars are backstage, they'll usually hang out with their fellow wrestlers, but this week, one innocent photo got taken the wrong way. Recently, WWE uploaded some photo shoot outtakes, one of which sees Mia Yim hugging Austin Theory, which some fans argued was more than just platonic. Some even said that Yim is interested in Theory, and on Twitter, the former Retribution star quickly shot that rumor down. Saying that her block button is ready to go, Yim made it clear that she loves her husband Keith Lee and stated that men and women can be friends without being sexual. Unfortunately, this situation has proven to be too much, as Yim has since deactivated her Twitter account. Contrary to what some may believe, men and women can just be friends, and after marrying Lee in February in a ceremony officiated by Mick Foley, the Raw superstar only has eyes for the Limitless One. More from AEW, as tonight will be the show's Winter is Coming event, and Tony Khan is wanting his last big event of 2022 to go out with a bang. It was at the 2020 Winter is Coming that Sting debuted for AEW, and now some huge returns may be in store for just a few hours from now. According to sources, there were discussions recently about Johnny Elite, aka John Morrison, showing up on tonight's show after debuting for AEW in May as part of the Owen Hart Men's Tournament. Lance Archer is also a name being considered, as the once AEW TV regular has since all but vanished from the show, having had just one singles match since May of this year. With more titles now available in AEW, including the All-Atlantic Championship, tonight's show could see Archer's return. The biggest name being discussed, though, is Adam Cole, who hasn't wrestled in months due to a concussion he suffered over the summer. With the Elite back on the show and Bobby Fish now gone from AEW, a lot has changed in Cole's absence, which could be addressed tonight. Sources said they're still not sure if Cole could be wrestling tonight or just appearing, as his medical status is still uncertain, and it'll ultimately be Tony Khan's decision who makes the show. And we're ending with NXT, as last night was a rough one for Mandy Rose, but she did at least get her due respect from the crowd. After the match, a loud "Thank you, Mandy" chant erupted from the crowd, as the crowd in the Capitol Wrestling Center made it clear that the Toxic Attraction leader made for one excellent champion. That's our news for today, guys. Please watch our previous video, 15 WWE wrestlers who passed away in 2022.